Hello and welcome back to the Alnwick Castle podcast. I'm Deborah Beecroft.
And I'm Daniel Watkins.
And today's episode is the third and final part of our mini-series on this year's Alnwick Castle Library Project. If you haven't heard part 1 or 2 yet, you can find them in our podcast feed. Look for episodes 59 and 62.
As always, we met with key members of the project team, Project Conservator Ellin Belton and Household Controller Andrew Jarman, in the beautiful and now restored library of Alnwick Castle, where they updated us on how everything's been going as the project nears its end.
We recorded in the library whilst open, so you may hear some background noise during our conversation, but we hope you enjoyed it anyway.
For the third and possibly final time, we are very happy to be joined for an update on the Alnwick Castle Library Project by the Project Conservator Ellin Belton. Welcome back to the Alnwick Castle podcast. How are you now that we are in the autumn?
Thanks, Daniel, for allowing me to come back for a third time. Yes, it's feeling very autumnal outside, and I'm really glad to say we're in a very, very cosy, lovely, warm and luxurious space here in the library. So there's definitely been things happening since we last spoke.
So in terms of what we spoke about last time, it looked very different to what it does now. There was a lot of scaffolding and we were sitting up very near to the ceiling, but that is not the case now. We are sitting in a lovely area of the library. So what has happened between then and now?
Okay, so the scaffold has come down. I think we were all very pleased to see that phase of the library completed, which really signalled a big step change in the project for the kind of major conservation works being completed. And once the scaffold comes down and goes out, it's really time to start putting the room back together. So since that point, we've finished doing the rewiring of the room. We've taken delivery of the massive hand-knotted carpet. We've got two of, but the biggest one was 15 metres long. That's been reinstated back in the library. That was 16 people to carry it up the stairs and bring it in. So it's something of a comedy act in that we did a time lapse of relaying the carpet. So it was quite funny watching myself kind of ushering everybody around. What else have we done? We've had new blinds in the windows and we've refurnished the room. I don't know whether the acoustics may sound a little different to the last time that we did the podcast. Obviously, when you've got the scaffold around, it can be quite tinny. And now I'm hoping it's soft and calm. And then this morning, we've had the interior designer with us, just doing final tweaks and resetting the newly kind of imagined areas in the library. So, yeah, that's all gone well.
16 people to install the carpet, but it's not just a case of going in through the door and you're in the room. The library is on the first floor of the castle. Mm-hmm. So people can go to the castle's social media pages and see the time-lapse of the carpet being laid in the library itself. How much planning did it take to get it from outside up the grand staircase of the castle, we assume, and into the library itself?
Okay, so the library carpet started its life in Bulgaria. And so it's already taken a trip on a plane. It's been to London, and now it's come up here to Alnwick, to its kind of final home. So it arrived on a pallet sewn up in a Hessian blanket, and it looked like a sack of grain. So carpets are very much happy when they're either laid on the ground or they're rolled up like a sausage or a cigar. So back in July, I took the opportunity to we've got a collection of historic carpets which we wanted to re-roll and inspect anyway, so we were like, we'll do all of those at once. So we did the library carpet, which is about 250 kilos, and then the historic carpets as well. So that was a week with a team of 4 of us to roll the carpets, and then the big cigar-shaped library carpet, happily rolled, just stayed in our off-site store for some months, and I can hear a talk coming in. And then when we were ready for the library carpet to come back, I think I had 3 drafts of the risk assessment to make sure everyone was happy with what we were doing, planned in the transport, and then so we wheeled the carpet outside. I picked it up on the forklift truck, loaded it into the back of the lorry with the forklift, and then we drove it over to the castle where the 16 people were waiting. We transported the carpet on the lorry, but we had to change vehicles because castles were not necessarily built to allow lorries through archways. So we had to have a change of vehicle, and we were very lucky with the weather on the day that it didn't rain when we had to take the carpet out of the big lorry and put it onto like a flatbed truck to drive it in. And then off the truck, 16 men to pick it up and carry it all the way up the great staircase and through the upper guard chamber and through the ante-library and then into the library itself. and then we had to unroll it.
And
So
how long did that take?
It was about 2 hours in total, so actually it wasn't too bad. And I'm going to say it went well because of my meticulous planning skills. I don't know, maybe.
So we can actually see as we're talking here, there's some of the team bringing in other bits and pieces. So how much is left to do you think?
We need to have a good old tidy up. We've had the new bar fitted out as well this morning, so that's a new thing for this season. There's not masses to do, which is good. So it's some tweaks. We've still got an electrician rewiring some old lamps for us. And like I say, just kind of getting ready for the end of season and that transition of the open season into the closed season and sort of family time. Because the deadline really was to make sure that we had this space ready for the winter entertainments and the family space.
Way back when we first spoke in April, you'd mentioned roundel portraits of the 4th Duke and Duchess of Northumberland, the couple who were living here at the castle when this library was first created.
Mm-hmm.
Their portraits are now back up in the room. Can you describe them to us and the process of reinstating these after a half-century gap?
Yes, that massive part of the project that I didn't mention earlier. Well done, Daniel. So the room is not square or rectangular. It's kind of square and rectangular with an extra cube stuck on it. That's a really bad description of the shape of the library. But in the north end, we've got windows and then the new bar. And in the west side, we've got these almost floor-to-ceiling windows, which is the area which we refer to as the recess. And it's been reimagined through this project. The roundels going back on top of the bookshelves were a part of that reimagining. As Daniel kind of touched on, they've been in storage for a very long time, and this was the perfect opportunity to bring the roundels back to their kind of rightful place. So they've been away for conservation, and they returned. It didn't take 16 men to carry the roundels in, thankfully. But it was quite challenging actually getting them up into position. We had to get something called a genie lift, which is kind of a hand-cranked, movable height platform. So we put the roundel on the genie lift and hoisted it kind of up into place, and then we had to fix it into position. So it still took kind of 4 or 6 of us to do that. But yeah, it was great to have them back, pride of place. And I'm pleased to say that Andrew Jarman's arrived. So Andrew, what do you think of the roundels?
Yeah, I like the roundels. I think they're nice. They're different. They add a kind of different dimension to the room, and the fact they're lit. Yeah.
I guess for a description, the roundels are about 2.5 metres in length and probably standing well about 1 metre high, and they are very intricately carved oak frames framing the portraits carved in marble of the 4th Duke and Duchess. So it's that contrast of very dark carved oak and then very white marble.
I mean, they're a bit like a cameo brooch, an enormous cameo brooch, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Before you arrived, we were talking about what's been going on since the last time we spoke about the project in June. So how have the lots of things going on? How's that been progressing from your perspective?
Well, we're on target. We're on schedule.
A week ahead.
We're a week ahead of schedule. So, well, lots of things, as you can see, very different to when you came back. Carpet, furniture back, upholstery all done, rewiring done, focusing of lights, an additional visit from the lighting designers because of some complications. The new bar you can see behind you, which is, I think, one of my favourite parts of the room, just because I think the work is so incredible, and to think that was a part of the collection, part of the original folio cabinets from the 4th Duke's library, and it's been reimagined as a bar and is completely reversible. But you wouldn't know that to look at it, and the detail of the workmanship and the fact that it's been made by somebody who's 26, I find quite mind-blowing. I think it's incredible. It's an incredible piece of work. I also think the colours from the designer, Catherine, who's been here today, working with Ellin, and actually seeing the ceiling properly lit, gone are the fluorescent tubes, proper LED linear lights, the coffers are all beautifully lit. I think it's incredible. It's almost difficult to imagine what it was. It was very flat, as well as being a bit grubby before, and now
the whole space is kind of drawn together now. It's been reinstated, I think.
Yeah. But we said at the very, very beginning of this, in February when we completely emptied it, and we decided we were going to meet on a weekly basis, 9:00 every Tuesday morning, which pretty much we've kept to, haven't we? And those meetings were designed to be a 10-minute catch-up. They've never been 10 minutes. No. But it's an opportunity. It's very difficult to have that kind of exchange of opinions over electronically. Or over Zoom or something, and there's something very important about being face to face and in the room. I think we've had every single meeting in this room. Yeah. Just one example of measuring the recess carpet. I thought, well, we're measuring basically a square. How difficult can that be? 4 hours later, and a drawing from Robin, and then a meeting with Her Grace, and backwards and forwards. So it's lots of small details, hopefully done really well, has brought the whole thing together. And the fact that you agonise on one specific thing and you think, and then actually when the whole room is back together, you think, why were we worried about that? But I think
it's about getting it right.
It's about getting it right. And hopefully this sort of iteration of the library will be here for a long time. The family will see it and may make tweaks and changes.
I think that's for me, that's one of my favourite bits about working on a project like this is it is something that's going to be here for a long time. And I've always had an interest in history and in interiors and the people who have been in the spaces and wanted to make interiors look in a certain way. And I hope that we go down somewhere in the archives and in 100 years they'll be like, who are those people working on the library? So in a way, I like being part of that story of the kind of evolution of a building and a kind of family dynasty, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, but even down to things like choosing the light bulbs.
I don't want to be remembered for that.
No, but it is the detail. Just if you look at the table chandeliers on the far table, the lights are brighter than the chandelier on the near table. That's because we've looked at the individual types of lights we're going to use. We're going to have slightly different lamps in the chandelier because they dim better and have a warmer light. Now, a lot of people will say, well, does that matter? But I think it's the attention to detail. And one of the fascinating things that I found working with both Ellin and Catherine is talking about colour. If you look at the colour of the two armchairs, now individually, I wasn't mad on that colour, but then you look at it in the context of the room and you look how it picks up one of the leaf designs in the carpet. You think that's amazing. We put these two, which may or may not stay here.
Referring to a pair of blue vases.
We did put them over here, and they look completely different in terms of the colour and the fact that this end of the room can take that colour much more than this end of the room. And so it's the aesthetics of it and how it all looks. And Her Grace has chosen with Catherine has chosen all the fabrics for the new part of the recess. So yeah, lots of small details done well, and we haven't fallen out yet.
No.
Yet.
Still tomorrow.
Yeah, we still got a few more days.
We might fall out with Robin though, because he didn't turn up.
Well, the next question was about the part of the work that he was describing last time we spoke, which was to do with the fireplaces. There was a third fireplace in the room that wasn't open a few months ago that was scheduled to be. How has that gone? Has it been a success?
Interesting. I would say so.
It's operational.
It's operational. It does work. We have opened it.
And it's going to be a triumph.
And it will be a triumph. I think we've gone through some trials and tribulations with that, but it is now a working fireplace. And we were expecting a fender today, so I'm not quite sure what the fender is, but it has been made to match the fenders that are the other two. And all of the fires have actually been restored and cleaned by Joe, and I think Reese helped a bit. And we're having a spark guard fitted on that one. So yeah, it is working. But we've had a few trials and tribulations. We've had to have extra scaffolding outside. We've had to access the top of the chimney. We've had to dig up the floorboards in the bedrooms above the library to get to it. So it's not been exactly smooth, but the end result is we have a working fireplace.
You see, I take a slightly different view in that this is part of always working in buildings, is you never quite know what you are going to uncover or what you need to do until it comes the time to do it. And then I just see it as a natural.
But then I come at it from a purely operational point of view,
Yeah.
that here's the date, this is when it needs to be working, and how do we get there? So it's an operational point, and it's interesting working with, because Robin will come at it from a sort of construction, getting it done, health and safety point of view. I'll come at it from an operational point of view. Ellin will come at it from a sort of conservation, aesthetics point of view. That's not to saying that I know nothing about aesthetics, but for instance, I think it was really important that Jan was involved in the bar. Sorry, Jan, the head butler here at Alnwick, because he's the one who's going to be having to operate it and restock it and make sure it's what our guests and the Duke and Duchess and their family want. I'm not going to be the one who's going to be trying to find out where the tonic is and where's the bottle opener and stuff like that.
It's drawing on everyone's
strengths. It's drawing on everybody's strengths. And I think one of the nice things about this project is that when we've called upon the wider estate team to help, they have all rallied to the cause. And there's a very funny WhatsApp video, I think, of us carrying the carpet in. This is like 450 kilos or something, this carpet.
It suddenly got heavier.
Yeah.
It was this big.
Yeah. But the fact is, this is a big carpet. And then conversations about, do we have to acroprop the grand staircase to bring it up because of the weight and stuff like that. But then everybody turns up on a Thursday afternoon and helps us carry it in and unroll it.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely a team effort. And we were working out how many different departments have been involved. I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? We were trying to work out how many different departments. And it's almost every department, even the fencing and outdoor team helped us when we needed to move the carpets because we didn't have a telehandler and they did.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a great joint kind of effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good example of we are as strong as the team and we work better together than as individuals within that team.
A couple of general project questions as we're nearing the end.
Yep.
What's been the most rewarding aspects of it for you, and what's been maybe the biggest challenge that's had to be overcome to get the project to the end?
Okay, so sat here today, I can look around me and I can see the cycle that we've been through, and to completely empty a space, take it all apart into small pieces and put it all back together again. I think that's the rewarding part of a project with me, is all those different strands that go into delivering an interior project in a historic setting. It's that complexity, and there are those challenges when you think, oops, that's not all going to fit in the programme, or oops, we weren't expecting to find that under the floorboards. But again, as Andrew says, with the right team, then there's always somebody that knows what to do, and I think that's really important. And I think that reward comes when we do finish a week ahead of schedule and everybody's happy. That's that's the important thing, isn't it?
And the challenging bits.
I've really enjoyed the project. I don't know whether you found certain bits challenging.
I wouldn't say challenging, I think stressful and kind of more kind of worrying about stuff. So I think for the positives for me, I think you, me, when I say you, Ellin, Robin, Steve, Ev, who've I think formed the sort of core of the project team and the Tuesday meetings. And the fact that we tease Robin because he works on Robin Meantime, and then sometimes he surprises us by being the first here. I always pride myself on being first to every meeting. I appreciate today was not a good example of that, but I was talking to the designer. But I think it's been that working together, and I think the thing I will miss is actually working together on a very specific project. I think the challenges for me have been when you think, is the bar going to work? Is Her Grace going to like the setup and the fabrics? But I've kept Her Grace informed all of the way. And then, worrying about things like, are we going to get it back in time for the family moving back? That was a really big concern of mine when we emptied it, because this is a huge project, and a lot of what we've done in here is you don't see the wiring. In fact, the whole floor has been restored and polished. You don't see half of the floor because it's under, but we know it's been done properly. And the fact that we've worried about the positioning of the faceplates and where do we have the whatever they're called, USB-C charging points, and Are we going to get the fire working? So lots of kind of things like that. And are we going to do it on budget? Are we going to do it on time? And those are the things I think you worry about in your head. And what I need is somebody to say, it's going to be fine, don't worry.
Well, we can have that discussion tomorrow when we have a budget meeting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think those are the fun parts. And I think I was chatting to Robin yesterday, and I think he said much the same. You have like-minded people who have a common goal in mind. And I don't think we've fallen out or disagreed about anything, but we've had some... we've had long conversations about how we get the power through the carpet, the floor boxes, face plates, all sorts of things. Lots about lighting. These things take a lot longer than you actually expect that they will. So allocating, 10 minutes for that Tuesday meeting, clearly a big mistake on my point, because it's, I don't think you can underestimate the importance or the benefit of that, and the fact that we have been a team, and even when we haven't been here, we still had those meetings with who's present. So I'll miss those, actually. I'll ring you up every Tuesday morning at 9:00 on a Zoom call.
Thanks.
And for people listening to this podcast who may come to visit the castle in the future, what impression would you like to leave them with in terms of the library?
A beautiful, opulent, large but still cosy space. It feels like a very calm space actually now. It wasn't at 9:00 this morning, but it feels quite calm now. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the ceiling is a triumph. I think the cleaning of the ceiling and the way it's been lit with a gentle sort of light wash around the edges, and the fact that the 4 coffers have been picked out is remarkable. I think it's absolutely beautiful. We still got some stuff to do. We still got to put some lampshades on and a bit of arranging. I think the new recess area where we had the folio cabinets before, I love it. I think it's beautiful.
I want to go and lie on the settees.
I think you're not allowed to lie on the settees. I'm absolutely amazed by Nick's woodworking, cabinet making, and the fact that, as I say before, that those inserts into the folio cabinet to turn it into a bar are completely removable. There's nothing that is fixing it, so it's
completely respectful in a conservation.
It's completely respectful is the word I was looking for,
yeah.
of the fact that this is a piece of the original furniture that was created for the library. I think that's a triumph.
Possibly a final question. What have you got planned next? Would you do something on this scale again?
You want to go first?
Well, we're getting ready for the family moving back and the winter season.
That's when the room will
really
be used.
Comes to life. And this is the most used of the staterooms, and is used when the family have guests staying at the castle. And with the fires, it looks magical. And yes, I would absolutely do it. I think that working with the people I've worked with on this project would absolutely encourage you to do another one of this size. But I think it's all about the team and about the communication.
So I finish here and I finish at the castle. It's pasture's new for me. Would I do another one? Absolutely. This is kind of what I do, project in, project out. So this is what I love, and yeah.
But this has obviously been your favourite one.
Yeah, it's up there definitely. Yes.
And you'd come back.
Yes.
But you say that to all the podcasts, don't you? In every home that you do.
And it's a very special place to me.
And is there any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Sorry I was late.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of the project and welcoming me. Everybody has been great at the castle, so thank you, Northumberland Estates.
I think Ellin has been, a crucial part of this project, and we would not have been able to do it without Ellin's involvement in this, in no way, shape or form. And I am absolutely certain I'm not the only person who says that.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again on the Alnwick Castle podcast.
Thank you.
The newly restored library of Alnwick Castle will once again be fully open to visitors in 2025. We hope you're able to pay it a visit next year.
If you enjoyed this mini-series about the library project and would like to hear more, let us know on social media or by emailing podcast@alnwickcastle.com. We always appreciate suggestions for new editions of the podcast.
We'll be back in 2 weeks when we return to the Middle Ages to find out about the Border Reivers. Until then, I've been Daniel.
And I've been Deborah.
Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.